I'm going to be introducing Marilyn Snyder. I've known Marilyn, like I said, through the election integrity and through the Redlands Tea Party. She's an author, a self-employed PowerPoint designer, a newspaper columnist, and a Tea Party activist. Regularly, she cares for her 4 granddaughters, and her biggest incentive is to be a political activist about America's decline. So at this time, please help me welcome Marilyn Snyder, and the topic of her presentation is going to be Friend or Foe, Fanatic or Finished, the future of the Tea Party and the Republican Party. Marilyn Snyder.
Wow, here we are. Friend or foe, fanatic or finished. When you think of the Tea Party, you probably think of all 4 of those words. The question is today, where are we? And where are we in relation to each other? Well, I maintain this. I maintain that the Tea Party has the most loyal Americans in the country in that group. Now, you might disagree and say, wait a minute, it's the Republican women who have the most loyal Americans in their group. If you agree with that, cheer, clap, stand up, come on. Do you think you're the most loyal Americans in the country? Stand up, stand up, stand up. I'm waiting for you to stand up. Yes, the Republican women. Yeah, come on. All right, I have to agree with you. But, you know, I do think maybe the Tea Party has got some really loyal Americans in them too. You know what I mean? There's more than one of us that can qualify. Every single person in this room and at every single Tea Party meeting, we are all loyal Americans. Yes or no?
Yes.
You bet. We're also constitutional Americans. Yes?
Yes.
We are free market Americans. Yes?
Yes.
We are fiscally conservative Americans. Yes?
Yes.
All right, that's us. You, me, you the Republican women, me the Tea Party. We are all loyal Americans. So we have that in common. We big time have that in common. We all love our country passionately. We all know that the roots of today's United States of America is solidly grounded in the America that was visioned and designed by, let me see if you recognize these names. How about Washington, Jefferson, Adams, Madison, Monroe, Franklin? That's who designed this country that we live in today. Frankly, folks, ours, San Gorgonio past Republican women and Tea Party patriots, our blood runs. Let me take this back up one. Ooh, dun, dun. That color. What is it?
Red, white, blue.
You bet. So the question is then, are we friends or are we foes in this mess that we are facing? Now, the good thing about having Don Dix precede me is that I get to echo about half of his talk. You know what I mean? He and I are on the same page. We know the kinds of things that we're facing today. One of them is, of course, what is that? That horrible debt. How about, this is a new fact I just got yesterday. California has, whoa, gotten down to 8% unemployment. Whoa! The last time we had that was 6 years ago. Come on, down to 8% employment. I mean, the whole country's better off than we are. And they're saying, whoa, look at how we got it down. And then, of course, I'm not even going to go into that one because you know about the trials and tribulations of that one as well as I do. How about the religious liberty attacks? I mean, it's everywhere, isn't it? Do you feel like you could actually walk out into the world as a Christian, if you are one? Do you feel like you could walk out there and people will accept you as you are? I don't think so. How about, how many of you are lying in bed at night going, oh, excuse me, crap? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm like, oh my gosh, let's see, Putin got away with this, the Koreans just blasted off some more rockets, China's out there getting, they're out there wanting to annex those islands, Putin is saying, oh, well, Crimea was such an easy thing, it only took me 3 weeks, I wonder how long it'll take me to get the whole country. And then we have China, you got Syria, how about Iran? Oh my God, these problems that we have locally, I guess that supermajority in Sacramento doesn't seem so bad compared to some of those big ones. Or does it? Because frankly, it's affecting us a lot more than those other things are right now, which are still big things that are out there. But in our day-to-day life, who the heck is messing us up? Well, we know who it's that blasted, let me go, there we go. So, I ask you, how many of you think that the Tea Partiers are fanatics? Whoa! Well, actually, I'm really surprised that, or maybe you just don't want to raise your hand because you don't want to offend me or somebody else. The truth is that I believe that a lot of people think that we are fanatics because the Tea Party got a bad rap when it started, didn't it? Yeah. Well, we know that the Dems, Democrats, liberals, progressives, whatever you want to call them, have been underhandedly working, as Don pointed out, to transform our country, not just since Obama got in and said we're going to transform this country. It started, as Don said, and I repeat, 100 years ago. This has been going on. That means that not only was I sleeping and you sleeping, and Don sleeping, as he pointed out, but we also have our parents and maybe even our grandparents who are sleeping through the fact that they were working on that for over 100 years. So fanatics, I don't know, depends on whether you think that what we are trying to do is dramatically opposed to what you're trying to do, or whether it's just the media. So, like Don says 3 years ago, I was a little bit ahead of him. For me, it was the 2008 election, because prior to that, this was Maryland. Yeah. Politically, not in real life. I mean, I was working hard. I had my family, I had my kids, then I had my grandkids. I have my own business that I've been running. All these things are going on in my life. My husband, I better not leave him out. All these things are going on in my life. And yet, politically, I was very much not around. This is what woke me up. So when Don talks about divine providence, I actually think, in a way, that Obama's the best thing that ever happened to us. There would be no Tea Party if it weren't for Obama. Most of us, not just speaking about you, but in the country, would not have a clue of what is going on politically. We'd still be sleeping if it hadn't been for Obama. I mean, you know the things that woke you up as far as he is concerned, but I was not active politically. That has changed as a result of this election. What I did is, I found out very quickly about the Redlands Tea Party Patriots, and I joined them right away, and I got on their cabinet right away, and I have been working my tail off for the last 5 years with the Redlands Tea Party Patriots. Yeah, boy, I tell you, doing my first protest, having a sign, standing down on the corner. Oh my God, I'm a child of, the 60s and 70s, that was my big time, right? I never did a protest. Here I am, I won't tell you what age, but you can figure it out, okay? But I became very active with the Redlands Tea Party Patriots, and it's led me further and further into things that I never thought I'd do in a million years. For example, I started writing letters to the editor of the Redlands Daily Facts, and the editor got to know my writings. So when she wanted to have a Tea Party patriot who could write a column about the Tea Party, she asked me. And I'm going, woo! I'm going to be a columnist. Well, this is my second career. I've already retired, for goodness sake, and I'm starting another career. I don't know about that. But I said, okay, I'll do that. And what happened was, for 6 months, I wrote a weekly column for the Redlands Daily Facts. Until the person who is supposed to be my counterbalance, the Occupy guy, wrong, please, wrong, that dead Occupy group, right? Well, he wouldn't keep writing because what is the Occupy guy going to write about? There's no more Occupy. So they canceled my column because the liberals were complaining to her about, well, what is this, some kind of a Tea Party newspaper or something? What is this, a conservative newspaper? Hey, for goodness sake, think about it. Think about it. Do you know many newspapers in the country that are conservative? Especially the Redlands Daily Facts. So, fortunately, after enough pressure from other Tea Party people, I have been reinstated. Ta-da! There is now a monthly Democrat column, there's a monthly Republican column, and there's my monthly Tea Party column. Now, I'm excited. Are you?
Yes.
Okay, now, I know you probably don't have a subscription to the Redlands Daily Facts. However, because we're in the modern age, what can you do? You can go online, look Redlands Daily Facts, and just do a search for Marilyn Snyder, and you'll find all the articles that I've written for the Redlands Daily Facts, as well as my letters to the editor. So, I do want to say that Don Verkaik, who is one of the co-founders of our organization, said, when it comes to what you think about the Tea Party, look at what the media says about Republicans. So if you are harboring any negative feelings towards the Tea Party in general as a result of what the media said, do you believe the lies they tell about Republicans? So I don't believe any lies that you hear about the Tea Party. I am awake, I am frightened, I am passionate about what's going on today. In fact, that's not really me anymore. Instead, yes, I feel like I'm Monty Paul Revere. Yes, after crying warning, what if my land? And that land is located in what city? Washington, D.C., of course, one if I land. So I'm out there passionately saying, come on, you guys, just wake up, let's go. We can't just sit back and raise our families anymore. We can't sit back and just do our jobs. We can't just go shopping and go to church. We've got to do stuff. So, our conservative values, as you well know, because remember that the Tea Party, the big-time conservative, remember, and you guys are conservative, so that's something that we have in common. We're being attacked on every side. We're no longer a nation of laws, for example. Do you agree with that one?
Yes. Right.
Yeah. Why? Because this president and his administration are simply ignoring, arbitrarily enforcing whatever laws they want. Duh. Well, let's see. Well, I want you to think about this. Now, this is a really significant factor. Barack Obama says, not Congress, but Barack Obama says, the Obamacare individual mandate doesn't have to be paid until 2016, or I don't know, maybe they changed it again until 2017. I don't know, it's out there somewhere. However, it's a tax, is it not? The statute of limitations for failure to pay federal taxes is 10 years. So, because he has arbitrarily said, oh, well, you don't have to pay that tax, suppose the next president says, hey, the IRS has to collect all the back taxes. The next president could just arbitrarily say, I want those taxes collected, and that means that you and you and you who did not pay your taxes now have to pay them. And we know that the IRS would never put a penalty on that, would they? No, you are not going to be excused from those taxes if the next president arbitrarily says, hey, go collect those taxes that those people didn't pay. I don't care that the previous guy said that. And you apply that to every single one of those things that the president has done through his executive orders. When he said, okay, all these dreamers, you don't have to leave, we're going to let you stay. Well, the next president could say, hey, I want every one of those dreamers who registered to get arrested and shipped out of the country. Because it's still the law, despite what Obama's saying. So, let's go on about, are we friends or foe? The truth is that you may not be inclined to want to work with the Tea Party, for whatever reason, especially after those initial media attacks. Well, whoa, there's a lawless administration in Washington, which we already talked about. But I have an article that I'm going to pass out to you after the meeting that's called "It's Easy to Hate the Tea Party." It was the first article that I wrote for the Redlands Daily Facts, and what it does is it documents to some degree why so many people think that the Tea Party are fanatics and that they should be the foes of the Tea Party instead of working together with them. So take a look at that particular one. Keep in mind that the Tea Party is barely 5 years old. Think how long your organization has been around. And think of the Tea Party, kind of think of it as we're the infant subject to tantrums and occasionally outrageous behavior and outbursts. That would be the Tea Party, right? But we're trying to learn how to be politically savvy. And it's working because people like me who were completely unsavvy about politics are learning how to be more savvy. So also keep in mind that we are not a political party. And at this point, we have absolutely no aspirations for being a political party. So what do we have to do? Well, one of the things that we have to do is we have to keep in mind 3 areas in which we might have commonality. So let me ask you this question. Do you support free markets?
Yes.
If you do, I want to hear a loud answer. Do you support free markets?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you in favor of the Constitution and limited government?
Yes.
I love that answer. And how about this one? Do you want all levels of government to practice fiscal responsibility?
Yes.
Well, you guys are all officially members of the Tea Party then. Because those of the Tea Party patriots, that's it. That's our values. That's what we believe. These 3 things that you see here. So anything else you hear is in addition to these 3 things. So let me just remind you of this. When it comes to the Tea Party, like the Redlands Tea Party Patriots, well, we have 2 Tea Parties in Redlands. There's the Tea Party Patriots and there's the Town Hall Patriots, Redlands Town Hall Patriots. We work on different things, okay? The Redlands Tea Party Patriots is out there focusing on these 3 things and big time canvassing and elections. And on the other hand, the Town Hall Patriots are more in line with Donald Dix and his fight against radical Islam. That is, they call it national security. We're both Tea Parties. We both are under the banner of the National Tea Party Patriots. We basically don't have anything to do with each other. We don't meet with each other. We don't talk with each other. We go to each other's meetings, but we're autonomous. Okay? We are separate from all other organizations. So yes, you guys have these beliefs, and we in the Tea Party have these beliefs. If you were to go to the Tea Party Patriots stuff, and here's up there in the upper right-hand corner is the why don't you write that down? TeaPartyPatriots.org, and go look at their website and see what we believe is so far from what you believe. TeaPartyPatriots.org. In fact, what it says right there in that box, I'm going to read it to you. It says, the Tea Party Patriot stands for every American and is home to millions who have come together to pursue the American dream and to keep that dream alive for their children and grandchildren. Can you believe in that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Do you see again how much we have in common? So what we may disagree about are strategy, tactics, degrees of how we do things, particular candidates, and some other stuff. But what we don't want is a circular firing squad. Yeah? I don't care if I don't agree with all the stuff that you say. I know that you're loyal Americans like I am. I know that you're patriotic. I know that you have good values. I have not been a Republican my whole life. Yeah. Child of Democratic parents. Voted for Jimmy Carter. Took me 4 years to understand Ronald Reagan. and to become one of his greatest supporters. But here's the deal, here's the good news. I figure if even someone like me could go from Jimmy Carter to Ronald Reagan, how many people are going to go from Obama to fill in the blank? Oh, there's hope for us, there's hope. Okay, so no more circular, whoa. Okay. All right, something went wrong here, so I'm just going to give you 1 second.
There you go.
There we go. So, here are what I see as 4 common goals. Stopping liberal legislation, proactively fighting the liberal invasion, electing conservatives, and communicating. So I want to talk about these each a little bit more. Starting with this one. We need to work together to stop liberal legislation such as Obamacare, which, as you know, passed without a single Republican vote, and what we call the bathroom bill. Do you guys know what I'm talking about when I say bathroom bill? Okay, I see some no's, so I'll remind you. The bathroom bill was the one where our legislature passed it, saying that all children who are transgenders could use whatever bathroom, shower, and team sport that they wanted, depending on how they feel that day. Because there's absolutely no supervision by anybody. Teachers can't protest, administrators can't protest, parents can't protest, other students can't protest. So there was this huge drive to a petition to stop that. It was a statewide drive, and we ended up with 116,000 more signatures than were needed, and that's to give yourself the cushion, okay, in case some of the signatures weren't valid. You would not believe all the dirty little tricks that have been pulled trying to stop that petition from being effectively administered. 116,000 extra signatures, and they still said we didn't have enough signatures. Now, it only needed 500,000 to start out with. So 116, well, you'd think that we'd have enough. No. Well, right now, it's gone to court. We want to have those signatures verified because the truth is that we believe they should be validated. So, here's another thing. I think that when it comes to the liberal agenda, both Tea Party and Republicans need to work together to go head-to-head against the anti-Christian and anti-religious activists. And as you well know, yesterday in the Supreme Court, what happened? Well, Hobby Lobby and Conestoga Wagon went before the Supreme Court yesterday. So now, of course, we have to wait a few months to find out what the results are going to be. However, that's not the only one. In fact, here's the one that just sickens me to the nth degree. You probably saw here in California there was a grieving mother who was told by a judge, take down that memorial to your son because it has a cross on it. Come on! That's what I say, are we being persecuted or what? So keep in mind that I checked the statistic yesterday. Over 80% of the people in this country are Christians. Not just religious, but Christians. Do you know how many atheists there are in the country? 0.6%. So why in the blank, 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 blank have they got so much blank, blank, blank power? Down with the people who are taking away our rights. We're the majority, for goodness sake. I don't know. So I don't know. I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired about that issue. Okay, so that's one of the things we need to do. So action item. You can write a letter to the governor, you can write a letter to editors, to judges, to county people. That can be your first step, or, because I'm always in favor now that I'm a officially designated Tea Party member, let's have a protest, Let's go in there and fight. Well, in addition to that, what else do we have to do? We have to have less talk, more action by far. In fact, that happens to be the motto of the organization that I have just recently designed. It's called the Tea Party Lifeline. And my goal, my background, you have to understand, is in education, in public schools, and in the business world. And so I have done training workshops for the last, well, counting everything I've done, counting all the teaching I've done, it's my entire professional life. So I decided to put that expertise to work with groups that needed help. And so Glenn, wave your hand back there. Don, wave your hand over here. There's our two of the groups that I have helped. And I go in and I do workshops. I don't come in and talk like I am here. I do workshops where the people in the audience have to work. And Don, what was your feedback this morning to me?
Oh my gosh. Well, we started with 10 people in our tea party in December. We had Marilyn there in January. At our very last meeting, we had 35. And our
35.
Our email list is quadrupled.
There you go. That's as a result, a direct result of the workshop that I did for them. I'm willing to do workshops for any Republican, Tea Party, conservative group. I don't charge, I just go in there and I make whatever changes I possibly can. Glenn, good result from working with you?
Yeah, we're meeting every Tuesday and we're up to about 35 people meeting. We have about posted 100 on my email list. And we're still at our infancy, but we're growing. We had a small town hall event. It was very successful. We learned a few things. It was kind of a training for us because I think meetings like this is going to be it makes a difference all 36 minutes.
And before you sit down, Glenn, the name of your group is?
Fayetteville Cherry Valley Tea Party.
There you go. That's you guys. So that's some of the things that can be accomplished, and that's what I'm working on between now and the next election, and afterwards if necessary. So, next thing, you need to be proactive and clever in fighting liberal invasion. So, by the way, I want to ask you, gotta tell a joke. You know what the definition of a liberal is? Somebody who wants you to be free. As long as you choose from the approved list of freedoms, fill out the corresponding paperwork, and pay the appropriate fee. And then you'll be what? Free! According to liberals. Well, some of us are fighting against that. I want to tell you about a wonderful man that I met at the, what is that, Harvey, what's that guy's name, the tax fighting guy?
Oh, Howard Jarvis.
Howard Jarvis, thank you. There you go, Howard Jarvis. I went to one of their meetings, and I met Mike Alexander. Told him he had to come and talk to the Tea Party Patriots, which he did. And Mike Alexander is from TPAC, that's up in Pasadena. And what he said that they are doing from their group is this. He said, if we could make the Democrats spend a ton of money fighting a referendum that we know we can't win anyway, but we could just make them spend millions upon millions of dollars fighting that referendum, what does that do to their budget? That means they can't spend those millions and millions of dollars supporting candidates and legislation. So they actually have 3 referendums, which John Berry from the Tea Party Patriots told me he was going to deliver them. He put them on the front porch. I went out the back door. I don't have them with me today.
I have them.
Yay! Don has got them. Okay, so Don, we're going to hand those out at the end of the meeting, rather than at the end of my talk, but he's got them. Okay, so good. He took care of that. Now, does that make sense to you, what he's doing? Okay, so I don't want you to just sign this referendum. Actually, I think there's 3 of them. Is that right, Don?
Yes.
Okay, I don't want you to sign them. You better take some of them with you. As Don was saying, you got to go find 10 people who will sign those things. What we need to do is to expand our sphere of influence to our neighbors and our friends and anybody else that we can. So, third one, most important one. I told you in my introduction that I would tell you the most important way that we can work together, and that is to elect conservatives. Now, I want to hear a big yahoo for yesterday's election. Yeah. Mike Morrell, 62%. I checked the Secretary of State site this morning, 62%. Now, I'm telling you, I mean, I know I work for it, you work for it, I don't know, but I'm just excited. So I talked to Ross Sevi, who is Mike Morrell's campaign manager, and he also is the Young Republican leader in our area. And he said, well, if you want to work together, here's how you do it. You look for like-minded candidates. So Mike Morrell is the perfect example of someone that we can jointly work together on. Now, when you scrutinize candidates, the Tea Party Patriots are out there scrutinizing candidates too. And what we're looking for are those who espouse conservative values. And who have a history of voting conservative. Because what the Tea Party can't stand is people who say they're conservative and then they don't vote conservative. I see some uh-huhs and some head nodding in the room. Yeah. So we got to think long range here. So some of the people that you might be thinking about, some of you know that Tim Donnelly is a Republican, but you know what? He's really a libertarian. So he's not just I'm not pushing him. I'm not doing that. What I am saying is the Tea Party is basically going to support Republicans. Well, are we going to find a conservative Democrat to support? So even though we are not a Republican group, that's who we're going to try to support. Tim Donnelly is an example of a Republican who's really a libertarian. The Tea Party is supporting him, probably. And Rand Paul, who knows? We might remember that we're autonomous. So when I say we, the Tea Party, I'm talking about my personal experience in the Redlands Tea Party. I'm not talking about all the Tea Parties in the country because they're all doing their own thing. Is that clear to everybody? Okay. All right. So what we got to do is listen to Ronald Reagan. Actually, this quote is attributed to him. I couldn't verify it. But supposedly he said, the person who agrees with you 80% of the time is a friend and an ally, not a 20% traitor. So I hope that you will look upon the Tea Party as a friend and an ally in all of these things that we're doing, and not look at the 20% of us who might be fanatics. There's some fanatics in the Republican Party, aren't there? Yeah, I think so. Well. So, anyway, there we go again. I'm heavy-handed today. So, you, the National Federation of Republican Women, and we, the Tea Party Patriots, can work together. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So, let's look at the difference between us real quick. You are Republican women bound by the rules and regulations of your national organization. We, the Tea Party, don't have any rules or regulations or history other than our 5 years at all. You, in a sense, have some limitations because of that. For example, we tried to get the Republican women leader in Redlands, Lauren Briggs, on even before the United IE got going, in a group, and every time she said, well, I just can't do that. I have to go back to my board and get approval. And we go, well, we don't need approval from anybody. It's full speed ahead. Okay, so there's a huge difference between our two groups. So, if the progressives have their way, health care is not the only thing you're going to be obliged to buy, because they are out there working to make us more and more controlled. So, our combined forces need to do three things. We need to stop liberal legislation, we need to proactively fight the liberal invasion, and we need to elect conservatives. If you agree with that, say yes.
Yes.
So, here's how we're going to do it. We're going to communicate. I am strongly recommending what I heard from Carolyn Hayes, who is on the current board of the Redlands Tea Party Patriots. I'd like to read what she said. She said, I believe our best resource for networking with leadership in various groups is through your first speaker, Don Dix, the Unite IE Coalition. Absolutely. I support that 100%. If we can get a coalition, do you see how we're going to be stronger? All those autonomous Tea Parties and those other conservative groups and the Republican groups, if we could all work together, do you see how we would be more powerful? Yes. So do you agree with what Carolyn said there?
Yes.
All right. She said, last month, 3 Republican women's groups were represented at the Unite IE monthly meeting. So some of them already, I don't know if you guys, are you part of it yet?
Yes.
Ah, well, see, that's going to happen. I just know it's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. So she says, this forum is a great way to share ideas and information about what other groups are doing. And that means that we can become better friends, better working together. And she goes on to say, Republican Women's Group can create a link to and from the Unite IE website, and that would help increase the communication. So I don't know who your techie person is, but think about that. And then, who is that? Who's the techie person? Yay, good. We're gonna hope you know how to do that. And then finally she says, we can improve our communication by calendaring each other's events. So I want to just remind you of a couple things that are happening. The Redlands Tea Party Patriots, how many of you have been to one of our meetings? Oh, look at that. I hope that another 3/4 of you will raise your hands at the next meeting if somebody asks you that question. As John said, in our last 2 meetings, we had over 200 people. One of them, we had over 250 people at that meeting. We meet at the Mill Creek Cattle Company in Minto. The meeting starts at 7. People come at 5 o'clock to get a seat and have dinner. I kid you not. We haven't even started setting the place up there. You're one of them. Yeah, because they want to make sure they get a seat. In fact, at the last meeting, we had to completely rearrange the tables and everything to cram more bodies in because we're getting so many people there. Then, of course, I also already told you about Glenn. I didn't know I was going to see Glenn, but his group is a new group, and the next meeting is going to be?
Next Tuesday, the BMG Mexican Food Restaurant, 550 Omaha Avenue.
At what time?
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Get up early, get your brain functioning, head to that tea party meeting. If you can't come to the Redlands, you can come to his. I put Beaumont here because I couldn't remember all the names, Glenn, pardon me for that little thing. And then of course there's Unite IE. And this is one where you really want representatives rather than the whole group to show up. So, let's conclude with this. Is the Tea Party a friend, a foe? Are we fanatics, or are we finished? Well, hopefully you'll agree with me that the Tea Party is no foe to the Republicans. Do you agree?
Agree.
Okay. Do we have differences? Yes or no?
Yes.
Can we work through those differences? Yes or no?
Yes.
If we get Ronald Reagan in here, would he be slapping us on the behind and say, get over there and get some work done? We need to be friends.
Yes.
So, if you can recognize that we are not fanatics, despite what the media had to say, but we're patriotic Americans, we're rebels and mavericks, and we're foot soldiers. We're the ones in Redlands, during the last election, we knocked on the doors of over 2,000 people. I mean, that was phenomenal. So, we're in the same war. And we need for all of us to be as active as those people who are out there canvassing. So the last question is the Tea Party finished?
No.
Well, not as long as I'm still breathing. Thank you very much.
Wow. And take a deep breath, maybe count to 3. This has been loaded information and exciting.